Okay, am I audible? Hello.
Yes. Now you're
Okay.
audible.
Thank you, Dr. Rai, and I would like to thank the patron, the principals of Government SPM College Sitapur and Saraswati Mahavidyalaya Ambikapur, and the conveners Dr. Praveen Kumar Sahu and Mr. Praveen Sharma for inviting me in this 2 days national level workshop. And it is a very nice opportunity for me to express my view among the young researchers. Um, so, okay, so let me start. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Visible, sir.
Okay, so before I start, since we are running a little bit late, so Dr. Sahu, let me kindly tell me how much time I have, so that I will try to sum up accordingly. So it is actually three.
No, sir, you have half an hour, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. The topic of today's talk is hello. The topic of today's talk is mathematical biology, using mathematics to understand biology. So, let us understand how we can use mathematics for the understanding of biology. The outline of my talk is introduction and some historical perspective. What has mathematics done for biology? That is the contribution of mathematics. Just a review. In the biology, what are the challenges in the mathematical biology, what are the opportunities in the mathematical biologies, active areas of research, organization, institutions, and career opportunity and resources. So, as Professor Chobe has already told in the previous lecture regarding the mathematical modeling. So, a mathematical model is just the formulation in mathematical terms of the some real world problem, taking some assumptions believed to be true, and with the help of these models we validate our assumptions and we try to derive some information from the model to explain the real world system. So, since today's talk is related to the mathematical biology, so what is biology? So, biology means life. So, what is a life? So, the elementary smallest unit of life is what we call a cell, and it has certain characteristics like flux of matters and energy. So, there are so many chemical activities, absorptions of nutrients, they produce biomass and etc. There are certain adaptations also. So, due to the structure and the function, they evolve with respect to time, and just like as we know that the neck of the zebra and so on. So, they have just evolved over the years. So, that is one of the key features of life. Organizations, so they are consist of for example, a simple bacterial cell consists of 300 million molecules, and if each cells have DNA, RNA and proteins, and there are so many things, and also they have the property of self reproductions. So, this is autonomously, not by the external forces. So, that is the what about the life is, and since the modeling the biology is comparatively more difficult than the modeling in physics, because in physics most physical processes are well described by the physical law, just like what we call Newton's law or the theory of relativity, but and which is valid in a wide variety of settings. So, it is easy to get the physical science models right, that is the models are easily workable. But as far as the biology is concerned, so most biological processes are too complicated to describe by some simple mathematical model or formula. So, it is very hard to get models for biology hard in the sense that there are so many parameters involved to describe that particular phenomena. There are so many things which we don't know exactly how the things are happening. So we have some hypotheses, and based on those hypotheses we try to model the biological system. And even a model that works in one setting that may fail in a different setting. So still, why it is worthwhile to model biological systems? There are certain answers, because it helps to reveal possible underlying mechanism involved in biological process. For example, if we try to understand how our brain works, so till date we don't have the complete information regarding the functioning of the brain. So for that we have the modeling, or what we say neural networks or brain dynamics, and with the help of certain assumption and the available information regarding the that biological systems, we try to understand better with the help of model. So it helps to understand the mechanism involved in the biological process. It helps to interpret and reveal contradictions and incompleteness of data. So the collection of data is very crucial, especially in the biological research, because if the research experiment design is not proper, then we might not have appropriate data, or the accuracy of data may be debatable. So in that scenario, our mathematical models also helps. It is used to help confirm and reject hypotheses, to predict system informations under the tested conditions, and the most important is to supply information about the values of experimentally inaccessible parameter. That is, there are certain things we can't do experimentally, either they are impossible or unethical. So what we can do for that? So it's better to model with the help of mathematical modeling, and with the help of computer we simulate them, and we get the values of those parameter that is actually somehow not experimentally accessible. So to suggest new hypothesis and to stimulate new experiment. So there are certain limitations of mathematical models. It is not correct all the time. In fact, unrealistic models may fit data very well, leading to erroneous conclusions. Sometimes the assumptions is if not proper, or that is not okay, then the prediction through the model may be error prone. Simple models are easy to manage, but complexity is often required. So this is also one of the difficulty. So for example, if we model through the differential equations, then handling a two-dimensional or three-dimensional system is quite easy, but the real system are many dimensional, and then the complexity increases mathematically. Realistic simulations require a large number of hard to obtain parameters. So that is one of the difficulty or limitations in the mathematical modeling of biological systems. So there is a famous quotation from Box. So all models are wrong, but some are useful. Although no model can predict everything regarding the particular system, but that explanations or the results what we obtain from the models, they are still useful and quite useful. So how we derive models? So we start with the problem of interest. Okay, so I am going through quickly because in the previous lectures we have gone through all these things. So we translate the problems in terms of mathematical statements and balance of conservations of laws. And once we have the mathematical models, this mathematical model may be of any kind, any type, mathematically depending upon the biological situations, like it may be differential equations, it may be stochastic, and so on. So once the mathematical model is formulated, so we solve it analytically as well as numerically, and we interpret the results what we have obtained from the model, and try to predict regarding the models what will happen with the change in the parameter. For example, if we consider the current global pandemic of COVID-19, so the rate of interactions of human populations is very crucial. So if the rate of interaction increases, then definitely the disease will spread more rapidly. If the rate of interaction of population decreases, then the rate of spread will decrease. So just to get the various scenario, we cannot do real experiment with the populations. We cannot allow people to speed off the increase, to allow them to mingle with each other, to interact with each other. So that scenario that can be easily handled with the help of mathematical modeling. Also, we can assess the impact of the lockdown and other interventions strategies. So that can be done with the help of mathematical modeling. So validations are a very important aspect of mathematical modeling. So once mathematical model is formulated, so with the help of available data, we validate whether the model is properly explaining the underlying object or not. So this is the typical layout of the modeling process. We have a real problem of interest. So always remember, modeling always depends on the what exactly the problem of interest is. If we have if we change the problem of interest, that is the objective, even for the same system, our model will be different. So once we have we do some simplifications, we have some assumptions, formulations, we solve using some analytical and numerical techniques, interpret the solution through the original context, and with the help of axioms and mathematical theorems, of course, and we do some predictions. And if it explains properly to the problem of interest or is addressed to the problem of interest, then that's fine. Otherwise, we give some feedback, we give some modifications, and this is actually the continuous process. What is typically mathematical biology? So mathematical biology is basically talking to biologists and getting familiar with their experiments and data with respect to the biological process, and then developing a mathematical model that describe the biological process, for example by differential equations, simulating and comparing the numerical results with the experimental results, and keep revisiting until this fit is satisfactory, that is the model is satisfactorily expressing or explaining the system, using the model to make a new hypothesis and suggest the biologist to do a new experiment. So this is actually the core theme of mathematical biology. One typical example is actually a very famous Lotka-Volterra model. It is about 1928 approximately. Lotka-Volterra they proposed a model. So this is very simple model of two-dimensional ordinary differential equation of first order. And so here what we have first, this is actually the x is just the prey populations and y is thus the predator population. One of the difficulty in the mathematical modeling is there are many biological terms. So to understand the complete situations, we need to know the meaning of those keywords. So when we say that prey and predator, so just like with the help of this we can understand, suppose this is the rabbit and this is the lynx. So if this hunt this rabbit, so for this is the rabbit is the food of this animal, then what will happen? So initially if the rabbit population increases, then due to the sufficient availability of food, this predator population also increases. But due to the predation, that is due to the hunting, rabbit population gradually decreases. Then due to the lack of sufficient food, this predator population also start decreasing. And when the predator, that is the hunter, is decreasing, then again the rabbit population starts increasing, and this continues. So this is actually what we call the limit cycle. So this is a typical simulation of this system. So this x is actually prey population, y is predator population, x prime is basically dx by dt, that is it is changing with respect to time, and r, s, e and m, these are the four parameters. So what is this parameters means? Say for example here r is actually the birth, that is difference of birth and death rate, what we call the exponential growth rate. So that is the r is actually just the difference of birth rate and death rate of the prey population, that is the rabbit population, and so on. So this is just the model, and this is the corresponding simulations. So even if so, what we are getting that the system is this ecological situation is in some sense, although the populations are changing, but no populations are getting extinct. So but if we change the model, so that is if the first, that is the prey population, is governed by these equations, what we call the logistic equations, that is there is a competition of for resource for the rabbit populations, then the situation may be like this, that is initially ultimately they are fixing at certain level. So if we plot this phase space in the 2D, then we will have after certain times two parallel lines for parallel to x-axis, for one for prey, another for predator. So these are, so this is actually a typical situations so of mathematical modeling. So here what we are doing, we are modeling at population level, so that is we are just counting the prey population, that is the rabbit population, we are just counting the predator populations like this. So this is just some experimental validations of this simple prey predator model from the branch of mathematics is called population ecology. So this is actually the real data in the number of thousands for the this snowshoe rabbit and Canada lynx. So as we can see from the real data, so this is actually the this for example, this is the rabbit populations. Rabbit population include decreasing, then increasing, decreasing and increasing like this. So it has a cyclic behavior, and also so is the predator populations. So this is the just one typical example from the real life data, which can not be easily explained just using some simple statistical techniques. And so this is just a simple mathematical model which can explain very nicely how this phenomena is occurring. Or if the some parameters are changed, so if say growth rate of the rabbits are increased, or the hunting rate is increased, or the death rate of the predator is increased, so what will happen in the ecosystem? So that answer can be questions can be answered with the help of model. Another important that is actually the tumor growth. As we know, this tumor is actually the growth of in some sense uncontrolled growth of cells within the body. So mathematical models have been developed to describe tumor progressions and help predict response to the therapy, especially in tumor and even in cancer. So there are mathematical modeling has contributed a lot to diagnose the particular type of therapy for a particular person, or which type of therapy will have what type of impact, or even the how the identify the growth of tumors from, if suppose from the data medical data we have the values of current value today, the size of tumor, then just by fitting the parameters to the mathematical models we can estimate what will be the size of the tumor in say next 1 week or next 1 month. So that type of questions can be answered. Third one is this is the electrophysiology of the cell. In the 1950s, Hodgkin and Huxley introduced the first model to design to reproduce cell membranes action potential. So this is a very historical paper, and for which they won a Nobel Prize for this work, and sparked a new field of mathematics. Basically how our brain works. So this is actually the presynaptic terminals. So just due to some electric pulses actually, so this opened a new era of research, what we call brain dynamics, and to understand the neurons in a better way. Similarly, microbiology and immunology. So as nowadays you would be listening, different vaccine development are actually they are in the process of development. Some countries have claimed that they have developed the same. So for the COVID-19, so even the mathematical model helps to design and to understand the immune systems. So when some pathogens, say some bacteria, invades our immune system, then how that process mechanism actually works, and if the bacterial load is low, then what will happen? If the bacterial load is high, then what will happen? So that type of questions can be addressed given that we have the sufficient and proper data, and the model is validated properly. And if the immune system fails, how the bacteria will spread in the tissues. This one also is a very famous example from mathematical modeling to explain the biological pattern formations. Its origin goes to the chemistry and Alan Turing, 1952, great mathematicians. He gave the mechanism of this biological pattern formation, what is called Turing pattern, and that is nothing but the partial differential equation diffusion equation model, and this is just the inhalator and activator kind of thing. So how these patches are there, so that can be explained with the help of mathematical models. So what is the benefit of this is that actually in the process of evolutions, it helps us to understand the evolution of different animals, and also to even to help understand the what type of, say for example, the development of embryo will take place with respect to time. Some recent just for the representation example of this is a modeling of atherosclerosis. So this is basically the arteries, and with due to the poor lifestyle or due to the age increase, so these arteries are actually blocked. So this is the major cause of death and morbidity in the worldwide. So in 2014, Friedman and Howe they just published their work in the Bulletin of Mathematical Biology, that is the Journal of Society of Mathematical Biology, which is an international society, and they described a mathematical model which allow them to define a risk map for the disease depending on the level of LDL and HDL cholesterol level, and their predictions agree with the general guidelines of the American Heart Associations. So this modeling allows exploration of plaque regressions, that is the deposit of the plaque in the blood vessels under different drug treatments. This result qualitative agree with the experiments in mice and suggest possible avenues for drug treatment in humans. So there are so many such examples where the modeling has been useful to understand the biological systems, especially in the drug designing, that mathematical modeling is enormously used. Mathematical modeling, neuro-oncology, so that is again the what is this glioblastoma. So this is a kind of tumor that is actually the brain tumor or that affects the spinal. So it's an aggressive type of cancer that can occur in the brain or spinal cord. So with the help of Jackson and et al, with the help of their mathematical models, they show how a minimal model of cell proliferations and movement can capture many of the key features of the spread of this tumor. So ultimately, what is actually the modeling? So we have arrived at the stage. This is the statement of John Bonner. We have arrived at the stage where models are useful to suggest experiments, and the fact of the experiments in turn lead to new and improved models, and that suggests new experiments. By this rocking back and forth between the reality of experimental facts and dream world of hypothesis, we can move slowly towards a satisfactory solution of major problems of developmental biology. So that means again getting a better model, again doing some experiments, we can better understand the biology. What are the real challenges in incorporating this mathematical biology research? So I will go very quickly regarding these challenges. So these are not everyone recognize the importance of mathematical biology. This is true on both the sides of the fence, that is not everyone will actually biology, a biologist thinks that he must study biology. Mathematicians say that he must study mathematician. So there just need one biologist and one mathematician to do research in this field. Competing interest, so there is again similar situation, competing interest. Without a group membership, we can not do a better research work in the mathematical biology. Identifying and utilizing good biological applications of mathematics is difficult to do, because especially in our Indian education systems, biology and mathematics is just the two sides of the river, you can say. So a person who study mathematics don't know about biology, a person who study biology don't know mathematics. But now the things are changing in ISR's Indian Institute of Science Education and Research. We have a flexible curriculum where one students, if interested, can study mathematics along with the biology and so on. And fortunately, in our new education policy also, we have this opportunity that will be implemented in future, so the young generation can study according to their choice. So another challenge is actually the need of real data to work with. Data is especially very crucial in the work of mathematical biology, and especially in undeveloped country and developing country where the
Your presentation is not visible, sir.
pardon, sir. Hello.
Interrupting, sir.
Hello. Yes.
Sorry for interrupting, sir. Your slides is not.
Presentation is not visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Slides are not visible.
Slides are not visible.
You have to again present, sir. Actually, somebody in between presented.
Okay, no issue.
Just
That's
few
why.
seconds ago.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, it is okay, sir, now.
Okay. So the next challenge is regarding the data. So okay, implementation is also there is a conflict between the adopting and so the combining biology and math is the solutions. And as we know that we need a hybrid kind of curriculum. Here we can incorporate mathematical techniques into existing biology course and vice versa. So the recommendation is regarding funding agencies supporting mathematical research related to the life science should give preference to the proposals that indicate a clear understanding of the specific biological objectives of the research and include a realistic plan for how mathematicians and biologists will collaborate to achieve them. Just in April, SERB, that is the DST, just announced the one special matrix project proposals for mathematical modeling of COVID-19. So that type of funding is actually required to be supported by the funding agencies. Now regarding the various resources and the organizations working on the mathematical biology. So this one is a Society of Mathematical Biology, is one of the biggest society in the world, working for the great researchers all over the world are working on this mathematical biology. And it publishes one journal, that is a Bulletin of Mathematical Biology. Another is the European Society of Mathematical and Theoretical Biology, and here also that is the society for the whole European countries. And okay, so these are the okay, if we talk in terms of India, then the DST have the Center for Mathematical Biology established in the IISc Bangalore, and also there is some centers at BHU and so on. So there are so many researchers working in the field of mathematical biology in India also. So the pioneer is Jain Kapoor from IIT Kanpur, and nowadays in IIT Kanpur, Aishar, Kolkata, and almost all over the country now the people are working on the field of mathematical biology. In the international level, there are so many institutions which are dedicated for the mathematical biology. So one is the Penn State Hunk Institute in the life science. There is a dedicated center for infectious disease dynamics. Similarly, okay, a few more research centers I can show from my that is the Arizona State University, USA. There is the Mathematical and Theoretical Bio Institutes and so on. So in the UK, there is a John Hopkins institutes. So there are so many international agencies which supports and which have dedicated center for mathematical biology of mathematical modeling of biological systems. So if we talk in terms of experts, so there are so many experts at world level. We are working like Strogatz from Princeton University, from Oxford, Philip Kemeny, and so on, from Arizona State University, Chavez. Even in India also there are so many good researchers. They are working on the field of mathematical biology. And I would also like to share that there is a enormous opportunity in terms of the funded PhD positions and funded PhD positions and postdoc positions in the field of mathematical biology. I have been just observing since last 5 to 10 years since I was a research scholar. So there is an enormous opportunity if someone really want to pursue research in this field. Sometimes one may think that one has to understand, if he's a mathematician, so one has to learn all the biology. The things are not like that. So suppose if someone is working on infectious disease dynamics, then he should be aware regarding the microbiology, that is the pathogenesis and virology kind of things, how the diseases are spreaded, how the pathogen actually evolves, how they infect, and so on. My core area of research is actually the mathematical modeling of infectious disease dynamics and ecological system using the dynamical system tools, which not I have included much here because there is a dedicated session for infectious disease modeling in this workshop. So with this I would invite all the young brain to do research in this area of mathematics, and that is actually applied mathematics. It has a very enormous opportunities, and one can have a bright future in this area. So thank you.